After a couple days of practice, a little bit of speculation, we've got matches. We're talking matches and odds. We've got internationals and Americans about to tee off on Thursday. Now we know who's facing off in that first 4-ball session. I'm Will Gray, joined by Matt Delvecchio and Ben Everill. Guys, we're going to go through our picks for each of these matches. We've also got a little bit of a special contest. Team Golfbet against Team PME. Pat Mayo Experience is joining us all week long for a fun little picks challenge. We'll get into that in detail in a little bit. But first, guys, I know we each had some time to take a spin around Royal Montreal today, watch some of these practice groups, see who's playing with who's playing against some of their countrymen and teammates. Ben, what was your biggest takeaway from the final day of practice here in Montreal?
My takeaway was to put on the international vest, my man. They looked sensational. Look, I'll admit it. I've always been a bit of a homer for the international team, obviously.
No, you?
But let me say this. You guys can admit, when I came in early in the week, I was a little worried. I was a little worried that we might struggle in this competition. But upon seeing them out there on the course today, my confidence is back. That the upset is on the cards. It's absolutely possible. I still think the best bet is them winning the first session tomorrow. Sung Jae Im was striping it. He was making putts and chips from everywhere. And the boys really look like a unit. That's the key here. 12 players, all on the same page. Hard to do when you have the international team, but these guys are tight-knit and ready to go.
Matt, we've seen some foursomes, we've seen some 4-balls, a lot of mixing of pairings. Now we've got some interesting pairings tomorrow and Thursday that maybe we haven't seen before. What are your take on that from the American side?
Yeah, biggest news there, the dynamic duo of Xander and Cantlay broken up. Schauffele and Burns broken up. We're splitting them around, so I think it's actually an interesting strategy they're going with. I'm excited about it. I think Xander-Finau is actually an amazing pairing that they have there. Scheffler-Henley, maybe the best player with potentially the worst player on the team. I don't know. I don't want to.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I think that might be what they're working with, but it's very interesting to see what we thought was a guaranteed matchup broken up, and now seeing some new pairings.
Well, you mentioned that Xander usually with Cantlay. Now we see him with Tony Finau in the opening match against Jason Day and Ben On. That's going to be an interesting one. I know, Ben, that you've got of course, some Jason Day takes, but that's really on paper going to be one where the Americans are favored. You got that one, and then also Scheffler later in the day. Those are kind of the two biggest opportunities where the Americans are favored. There's maybe some value on the internationals as underdogs. And then the other 3 matches, we got to get some coins out, right? We're flipping coins in this first set.
Definitely some flipping of coins. Look, I know that my man Jay Day's in that first match, but honestly, the Americans deserve to be the hottest favourites probably in that match. Xander obviously is a killer no matter who he plays with. He's playing off his own ball. Tony Finau's been sneaky good this year, especially statistically. I expect them to be pretty good. But Jason Day's been thrown the challenge. Go lead this team. Apparently, he's turned it around. His attitude it stunk in these things in the past. He's been a liability in the past despite being the world number 1 at one point. But he claims he's ready to turn that around. He's been given the gauntlet. Go do it. Prove it. Prove that you care. So we'll see.
Matt, the Americans are favorites on the odds makers list on 4 of the 5 matchups. That final match is pretty much a -110 both ways, depending on where you shop. As you look in the international side, is there an upset potential underdog pick that sticks out to you as most likely to get it done from a plus money perspective?
Yeah, from my point of view, it's exactly the matchup I just mentioned, which is Scheffler and Henley. I don't think that's going to work. I think Scheffler is clearly not proven in President's Cup. I don't think they'll be the problem. I think it's who they're matched up against. That's Sung Jae Im and Siwoo Kim. That's a brutal pairing right there. I think that's a matchup that's made absolutely headwinds, and they're the underdog too. So I'm looking that way. I think Scheffler, Henley, if it even doesn't work, maybe they switch that matchup again, and later down the line we see Scheffler with someone else. But I do think there's some volatility there. You get the juice on the other side, but because Scheffler is with Henley, Scheffler's going to be the favorite regardless, no matter who he's with. I think there's value on the internationals.
Im Kim, they're going to go 4-0 in the team play. That's what needs to happen. That's what I'm getting at. If this is going to be an upset, Im Kim, they're the guys.
So we have gone from the round table where the international is going to keep it close to the internationals are going to win day 1 to now they're going to be blazing trails at 4-0, and we're looking at this runaway victory.
That team needs to be the glue for this. That's clearly the team where they put 2 studs together. It's not like Adam Scott, Min Woo Lee. That's a team where you've got veteran with a rookie looking after him, and those sort of things are everywhere else. The Canadians, they're going to be looked after wherever it is statistically, etc. But that is the gun team of 2 guys in form, 2 guys who can play well together. They need to lead the way if there is going to be an upset.
Well, this third matchup really has been the catalyst of discussion here. We'll peel back the onion a little bit. As I mentioned, we've got a week-long contest between the Golfbet team and Team PME, that Mayo Experience, who are also on site doing some content for their channels. But we're teaming up here this week. We're going to go through and pick every match, all 30 matches. We're going to see who stacks up the best for some prognostication. And this Scheffler-Henley Im Kim match has divided our team, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is the one that we've spent some time trying to build a consensus pick, because you really can't see it going both ways, Matt. As you said, Scheffler is going to be a deserved favorite regardless of any player he pairs with, regardless of any player he's playing against from the international side. But there really is some potential value in this, around plus 130 for the Im Kim pairing as underdog.
Yeah, I mean, we had to talk about it. We all didn't agree consensusly on one way or the other, and that's kind of the best part of this, is we all have to agree. PME's team got to agree, and we're going to go with that Sungjae Im side. There's just too much value there. You'll see on the graphic here that Pat Mayo and them are actually going with Scheffler-Henley. That might be the deciding factor versus us for day one tomorrow. It also could be the deciding factor of the day. Do the internationals win the day and see a 3-2 win, or do the Americans see a 3-2 win? I think that's going to be a pivotal match in the middle of tomorrow's round.
Well, let's run through some of our picks from a team perspective. And Ben, let's start with that first match. As we said, we've got Xander and Tony Finau up against Ben On and Jason Day. Which way is Team Golfbet going here?
Team Golfbet is going with the American team here. We think that Xander Schauffele is that bulldog and is that genius that we've expected him to be in match play. And I think, as I said earlier, Tony Finau has been sneakily pretty decent and consistent performer this year with his strokes gained stats. The two of them, I think I said, are in the top 5 of strokes gained tee to green or total or whatever it is. They're definitely inside the top 10. They just seem a formidable outfit. And look, Jason Day does not have a good record in the President's Cup. Ben Arndt has only played in one in Melbourne, didn't get a lot of time out there either. So that makes it, look, as hard as it is to say, sorry Jason, but we think the Americans here in the first opening match.
If you believe in jinxes, that is the one matchup we actually all agreed on, and they're the heavy favorites out of every match of the day. So if you believe in jinxes, maybe flip back on the day side. But actually, no one had no arguments with that match.
No.
And the boys from PME are riding with us, right?
Yes.
So everyone's aligned in taking Schauffele and Finau. We'll see if that works to our favor or not. Match 2, Matt, what are your thoughts here? We've got Collin Morikawa-Theegala against the veteran and the rookie, Minwoo and Adam Scott. What do you think?
Yeah, this is also a tough matchup. I mean, you're getting a superstar in Morikawa, a future superstar in Theegala, and then you're getting the young gun Minwoo Lee with the old guard of Adam Scott. I mean, how well are Adam Scott and Minwoo going to work together, this Australian duo? It's this one, the odds should be really close. I think minus 110 both ways for the match 5. This one should be minus 110 both ways, because I think this could come right down to the wire. I don't think anyone's going to win this with holes remaining. I think this is a really, really tight matchup.
All right, so from a Team Golfbet perspective, which way are we going in this match?
We're going the Aussies! Come on, Aussie! They're going to do it. The boys are going to do it. And let me tell you why real quick. Adam Scott's going to put the ball in play. He's going to keep Minwoo under the gun and be able to just unleash him. He's just going to absolutely unleash it off the tee. We know that Minwoo's weapon is his driver. Adam Scott will make sure he's able to use it, and from there, I think they can make some noise. It's a great pairing. Adam Scott has routinely had to have a rookie with him. Hasn't always worked, but I really do feel that Minwoo is going to cook this week, and having Adam there is that binding factor to play well. I think is going to be great. Look, it is going to be a close one, but a little worried about Theegala putting a bit too much pressure on himself. He can be a little bit like that.
Yeah.
That's another reason why we sort of skewed towards the Aussies in this one.
Expert picks, I believe you had Minwoo.
I did.
As one of the dog picks, so
I love it.
that matches there.
And this is one where we've got some division, right? PME is going with the Americans. Golfbet is going with the internationals. Someone's going to be right unless it ends in a tie.
Come on, Aussie.
Let's keep it moving. We got 2 more matches to talk about. Let's go to match 4. We've got Wyndham Clark and Keegan Bradley against Seabez and Taylor Pendrith. It's taken us to the 4th match to get a Canadian out in front of these Maple Leaf fans. Matt, what are your thoughts, and which way are we going on this?
Yeah, this was another one where we had a pretty big consensus pick, and it is with the internationals here. To be honest with you, it's more of a fade on the Americans team. I mean, there's a lot of question marks with Pendrith and Seabez, but that Wyndham Clark Keegan Bradley matchup, I mean, I can really just see that going either way. You can get a hungry Clark. Obviously, Keegan is the vet with the mentality that we've seen in the past. We don't know how that's going to really break out. I think they're actually probably the weakest team in the entire tournament that we're seeing right now. So let's go with Pendrith and Seabez.
I'm calling this the emotional match, right? You've got Keegan who gets up and fires up. You've got Wyndham who can do the same, but it can go sideways for them quickly as well, right? So they're going to need to ride positive emotion. But on the other side, as you mentioned, this is our first Canadian. Yeah. This is where the crowd, everyone's going to be at that first tee. Everyone was asking, why are the Canadians at the back? I'll tell you why, because you're going to keep the crowd at the first tee. They're going to be there for those first 3 matches starting, and 4 and 5 is when that crowd's going to start to go with their Canadian fellas and ride them home. And I do think that the emotion for Pendrith is going to be huge. He has to make a statement, and I think he can do it.
I think that I'm certainly with you. The PME guys are also with us on this one. They're taking the international team, so we'll see. So it may, as we said, there are some close matches early on. The deciding match could come in this 5th one of who's going to lead heading into Friday's foursomes, and so we've got basically a coin flip, right? This is what the odds makers are saying, is it could be the closest match between Hideki Matsuyama, Corey Connors, and the American side. So I think that, which way do you guys view this one going? Do you think that Connors as the second Canadian is going to be able to pull it through, or do you feel like there's some value on the American?
I think Pat brought up a good point. We were talking with him earlier today, and he was saying how Hideki and Connors are kind of that same type of golfer, and you're matching them together. You know, really good ball strikers, maybe not the best putters in the world, even though we saw Hideki putting amazing at the end of the season. Historically not an amazing putter. It's going to be interesting to see 2 guys with very similar games matched up in a 4-ball. Yes, they play their own ball, so you think, okay, they can make a bunch of birdies, but they are kind of the same players. So I think that's very interesting to see, and that's why this might be a coin flip.
It's Patrick Cantlay not with Xander Schauffele, right? Now it's Patrick Cantlay with Sam Burns, who we're used to seeing with Scotty Scheffler. Let's keep our tangled webs together. Ben, what's the Golfbet outlook for this one?
That there is the reason why I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They've been taken away from their stud partner, and look, I think that the US team is probably going to pull this one through. They're going to get there, and that's where we went. I wanted to push for the international guys, but I've been outvoted, and I understand why. Because, look, my only concern for the Americans would be that they're not playing to their full potential individually right now. However, if they bring their A game, they're a stud team, and they could get this thing done.
I do think this new matchup of Cantlay and Burns might be the favorite for the least emotional matchup of the entire tournament. Very mellow guys.
Same on the other side, by the way.
Yeah,
Connors.
That's fine. No fist bump. No fist bumps. Yeah. That's going to be no fireworks there. Maybe fireworks in their game.
It's going to be the crowd. We're going to need the crowd to bring that when Connors plays there. But it'll be interesting. It'll be very serious in that anchor match.
So this is another one where we disagree with our friends from PME. They're taking the international side of Hideki and Corey Connors. So we've got 2 where we're aligned, 3 where we're going opposite. Someone's going to be right come Thursday afternoon and take an early lead, but it's going to be a fun way to keep tabs on the contest as we head through till Sunday here at Royal Montreal. That'll take a wrap for us here as we head into day 1. It's great to have the matches to talk about. We're going to have some golf to look at and some scoreboards to watch, and hopefully some bets to catch. Stay tuned to Golfbet all week long. We'll have you covered here from north of the border.